the Member of Parliament for Subin constituency, to get some reaction from that Congress that just ended, as well as take his view on the upcoming presidential and parliamentary primaries. There are a few issues that have come up. There are a few concerns that some people want to share. And so I have with me the Member of Parliament for the Subin constituency, who is one of the leading voices in Parliament for the party, to share some perspectives with us. So, Honorable, first of all, I will start with the election that culminated in Chairman in Team and JFK now getting to lead the party. Is this something that you expected going into that election?
Well, I would say yes. I would say yes, primarily because of the election results from the 2020 general elections, where the party, with a whopping majority of 169 members of parliament, got reduced to 137 plus 1. So that is nothing to write home about in terms of party management, because election, as a party officer, your performance will be judged solely on electoral results. And I'm sure that was what really affected my brother John Boadu in his bid to seek re-election for another term. And I think in Justin Kudia, and also another younger brother of mine, all of us attended Opokuwari School, so Jonas Club Kudia is younger. What I see in Kudia is also a very cool, calm and collected person. I've known Kudia since 2008, and I believe he has the necessary pedigree in the party. First of all, did the Atlantic Economic course in tech, and is now a lawyer. And he's been part of the party machine for a while. So I'm sure, in terms of John Boadu's replacement, Kudia fits the bill. She will deliver, and the party has reposed massive confidence in him, because we have an election to fight in 2024, which is going to be a very crucial election by all standards. NPP seeking a third term. And I believe that with Chairman in Team, Kudia, and all the other elected executives, we focus on the two because they were the two big positions that got elected. So that's why we focus on the two. But all the 17 members or 20 members who now form the National Executive Committee to work together and to come up with ways that will help towards winning 2024 elections.
So, you seem to believe that you look at Justin Kudia and then Chairman in Team, these led executives, they can be the ones to break the case against General Mosquito, against Opuswampofo. Some will say these are more experienced hands leading the NDC compared to what you have in the NPP.
I mean, when people talk about experience, I get a bit worried. Because nobody was born with experience. It's something we all acquire in our line of work. So was Akufo-Addo born a president? He wasn't. He was elected as a president. Was Kofor born a president? He wasn't. He was elected as a president. Was I born as an MP? I wasn't. I was elected as a president. And I'm doing my job as an MP. I'm learning. I'm still learning. So when it comes to experience, I don't know what people assess by experience. Because if somebody who is more experienced can take into an election and get a majority of 469 reduced to 137 plus 1, do you call that experience? Well, how do you assess that? How do you define that? So that election is a closed shop now. My advice to these newly elected executives is to come up with a timetable. A clear timetable detailing the program of activities that will lead to one. I'm sure there will be more than 5 candidates for the presidential primaries. So you have a super delegates. That is where we will sift the number to 5. And then the ultimate Congress that will elect the next presidential candidate of the party.
Do you think that process is fair? That you must have a super delegates of a sort? Because there might be someone who may not win favor with the super delegates, but probably can win.
You are asking the wrong person, because I am one of the key architects of this constitutional amendment to the party's constitution. Right. During my time as the NPP UK and Ireland Secretary. So you are asking the wrong person. I'm fully for it. And it has taken the party years to really amend that portion of how our leaders are selected. We cannot afford a situation where...
One out of the 2007
Yes, we cannot afford a situation where we have 17 people aspiring for one position. Right. That's what we do. Originally, the amendment that we brought from London at the time was to vote the number to 3. But when you go here, they 5. The reason is, if you are that popular,
you must be popular with the super delegates.
Yes, because we are your colleagues. Yeah. We are the ones who work with you. We know you better than the grassroots and what have you. So we make that assessment. The fact that you are first in the super delegate doesn't mean that you win the ultimate. We just saw in Britain, where Rishi Sunak led all the way in Parliament, but lost. Yes, so that's not a problem. But the MPs, the national executives, the national council, what have you, these are bodies in the party that know the candidates very well. And by so doing, they are able to select. The fact that we are selecting doesn't mean who is 1, who is 2, who is 3. We're only selecting 5 people for you. And these people will then go down. You see, when you look at the electoral college, 6% of the electoral college is as MPs, ministers, governor appointees, what have you, MMDCs, the executives. The 94% is the police station executives. So they determine who leads the party. Right. It's not us. We are only saying, okay, these 5, go and select one for us. Yeah. That's what we are doing. That's our job. Right. And that should also, in a way, send a signal to those who think they may be coming to waste money or coming to just make up the numbers. So clearly we can see that these are the 5 people. We hand them over to the polling station executives of the party. They constitute 94% of the vote of the electoral college to select one of them for us, who will take us into the 2024 elections.
Right. So if you are seeking to run for the presidency, you are seeking to lead the NPP, you must know there will be scrutiny, just like the Member of Parliament has been telling us. Indeed, the next thing for the party is to elect a flag bearer. A number of names have come up. We do not have yet a clear timetable, like you alluded to earlier, in terms of who will lead the party and what form the election is going to take and all that. But so far, some of your colleagues in Parliament, some of the leading people of the party have already thrown their weights behind either Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia or Alain Martin, or even your colleague in Parliament, Kennedy Japan. Is this something that you think is healthy in terms of uniting the NPP ahead of 2024?
You've used the key word in your question, but I'll do my best to answer. The key word is unite, unity. After all said and done, we need a candidate who's going to unite us all. And you see, many of people who ought to know better are the ones doing this. From a very reliable source, in 1998, during the then candidate Kufuor in Sunyani, there was a huge and ugly disagreement between an MP at the time who had mobilized a few like-minded candidates to support one of the candidates. Yeah. And one of the candidates was contesting. I don't want to mention names. Yeah. And it's like it's taking a generation. They are still not even on good terms because of that. Yeah. I feel that as MPs, we are the leaders of the parties in our various constituencies. Yeah. We must give everybody a level playing field. Well, at the end of the day, like I said, even if MP decided, or the 6% decided that we want A, and the police station decided otherwise, what then happens to you? Are you trying to tell the world that you cannot work with that candidate? And I've been trying to drum this home. That you see, the best way is for us. I have 900 delegates under my watch. My job is to say that after assessing the 5 that will be selected by the Super Delegate Conference, my job is to indicate or sit down with my executive and say, look, I believe that this person is best placed to help us win. I don't have to be accompanying the person or going on health walks or what have you to demonstrate my support for that person. I've been in this party for far too long. And I've not supported any losing candidates. Never, apart from Mr. Fredowari in Tamale. And that was, we know what happened for him to lose. Every candidate I have supported has won since 2005.
But it seems that this is deeply entrenched, especially in Parliament. Your colleague MPs, recently, one of your colleague MPs, Honorable Vincent Safwa, was dragged before the National Complaints Committee of the party. I see a number of your colleagues who are openly going out there with either Vice President Bawumia or Alain Martin or other persons. What do you think the party should be doing in terms of cracking the whip, in terms of treading cautiously, so that you are cracking the whip, but you are making sure that people do not go away very angry, ready to work against the party?
I said we must be guided by tradition. I keep saying, if you support somebody, I was able to be a vociferous campaign for candidate Kufuor at the time because I was not an MP. If I had been an MP, things would have been different. Now I'm an MP, and having followed candidate Kufuor for almost 2 decades, I know what goes into an election. I know what it takes. I know what sometimes what the delegates are also thinking in terms of the selection. I played with every officer of the party that we must all respect the code of conduct as put out by the General Secretary of the party. We must support the General Secretary and the newly elected executive to do their work, right? If you want to support A or B, it's a matter of preference. Nobody can prevent that. But to openly endorse or to openly support somebody, you must be careful, because if the person doesn't win,
then where does that leave you?
Where does that leave you? You understand? Right. And I've kept saying this because I don't want to mention it, but all the aspirants, all of them, apart from 1 or 2, maybe older brothers of mine, all of them are like avuncular figures in my life. I know all of them. Yeah. So it's very difficult for me to go out there and do something against one or the other. And they are all party people, first and foremost. But my humble plea is that as members of parliament, we ought to know better. Every member of parliament ought to know better. Because 1, you're a legislator, 2, you're an officer of the party. Right. And if same was to apply to in your respective constituencies, how would you feel? You see? Yes, I mean, my view on this is quite simple. Whoever you want to support, support. But do not do it, do not shove it in our faces. You understand? Because at the end of the day,
you are taunting the other party.
Yes, at the end of the day, you don't know who will win. It happened in 2007. People thought otherwise, and the Kufuor won. You see, and I saw how long candidate Kufuor at the time spent in uniting the party, talking to each and every of the 16 aspirants at the time. Where did that lead us? Opposition. We had to go to opposition for 2 terms before coming back. And it's like history is playing again. And you keep telling people that we must be careful. Whoever emerges, we all support to become president. You understand? But in the lead up to the selection, the key word is not election, it's selection. You are going to select a presidential candidate. And if you are not careful and you openly do something against somebody and your candidate doesn't win, then you must well probably kiss goodbye to your political ambition. Because no matter what, yes, as black people as we are very vindictive. We are, you know it. Yeah. And they'll come after you, they'll make life difficult for you and what have you. So I want to firmly that every MP, or every senior, regional executive, constituency executive, council of elder, patron, minister, you must know better. Whoever you want to support, fine. If it's through financial resources, fine. If it's through lobbying for that person or campaign, nobody can prevent you. But do it in such a way that you don't antagonize anybody. Because at the end of the day, whoever is elected will be the party's candidate. Right. And you must all support that person.
Talking about that, I've been reporting in Parliament for a while now for Joy News. There was an NPP conference where MPs from a certain region were seen to be following one particular candidate, almost as though they were endorsing the person. Of course, they did not go on record to say that we were endorsing. But in politics, symbolism means something. And so the kind of chapter we've taken in Parliament is that some MPs are actually against that specific conduct because they did not understand that that's exactly what was going to happen. But what exactly is happening? Are you endorsing a particular candidate, or there was something else you were doing?
No, I think I know what you are alluding to. You just don't want to go direct, but it's okay. I understand because I was the protagonist on the day. So all what happened was that on the morning of the conference, on my way to the grounds, I got a call to come to Parliament for all of us to accompany the majority leader, Honorable Osei Sabusu, to the conference grounds. That was the information I got. Only to find out that we were going to support, we were going to accompany rather one of the presidential candidates. And I said, no way. I said, no way. That was not what I was told. And I'm not going to be part of that. Because I'm a human being. Right. And I feel that even if we like it, you see, the funny thing is that most of these people even following this particular candidate may not even end up voting for them anyway. You understand? But it just, that's the nature of our politics here. Hypocrisy, gossip, backbiting here and there. So I said to them, no, I'm not going to be part of this. And I made everybody present understand that it was wrong in principle, based on that 1998 example in Sunyani, where certain MPs had decided to back another candidate against an MP at the time, which wasn't right. So based on that principle, I said, no, I'm not following that person. I'm sure, of course, who wants to go and say, oh, he doesn't support that, but I don't care. It's my principle.
What we picked was that you were leading a certain cabal of opposition.
No. It wasn't a cabal. It was just that day. No. It wasn't a cabal. It was a one-man thousand fight. It was me against all of them. I said, I won't do it. The reason why I do that, I don't like or hate any of them. They are all party people. If your way of demonstrating support is to accompany somebody to conference grounds, that is fine, but that's not my way. So I'm not going to be part of it. I want to respect the rules as been put together by the party's National Executive National Council, that we must not openly or publicly endorse anybody. And that's the rules I'm sticking by. So that was that. So that was what actually happened. It was on conference morning.
Who wants this person? What is your reading into why MPs who should know better, some people are leading such efforts within the party and within parliament?
That is why I said it's unfortunate. Because as legislators, first and foremost, we ought to know better. We must be the first group of people supporting the code of conduct as released by the General Secretary and ensuring that it works, that will bring some kind of sanity into the system. So it's very unfortunate for MPs to be leading that effort. That is number one. Number two, I think it's too divisive. I don't think at this stage that's what we need. Because at the end of the day, whoever emerges needs the collaboration of all of you. You know, a situation where I saw what the Kufuor went through in 2008. I saw it myself. I was that close to the center, so I saw everything. Then the man hours that I had to put in to get people to come on board. In the end, what cost us? We lost to Mills by 20,000 votes. Yes, because remember that there are certain died in the wool supporters of some of these candidates that no matter what you do, they may even end up sabotaging the campaign effort of whoever emerges. Right. And this is my fear. So I've seen it all. So when I'm talking, I talk for experience. I just don't talk because I like A or I like B. That's not what is at stake. That's not what is at stake. But you know, typical Ghanaian way of trying to be the best amongst the lot and trying to mean that, say to you that this guy doesn't like you, this guy likes you, is their problem. My problem is that once the party has spoken, and as a party officer and a former party secretary, I should know the constitution of the party better. Because we have enough evidence abound in the country to win 2024. So long as John Mahama is the candidate. Right. We have enough. You have enough. Yes.
So another turning issue that could probably go into the election of the flag bearer is whether or not the parliamentary primaries should be held simultaneously, whether or not it should be held at the same time. What do you make of those suggestions, even as consideration is being given?
Well, from a business person's point of view, or a business student's point of view, I think it makes sense. It's the same register, the same process, the same referee, and it will also do away with a lot of the rancor and the division that normally are associated with these elections. Because see, if you hold one first, chances are, oh, this one doesn't support me, that one doesn't support me. Right. But if we hold it together, because we are all campaigning to win and win for the party. You know, this is not about an individual. People forget that. It's not about individual.
Look at how government is struggling in parliament.
Yes.
I mean, the party was united prior to 2020 and maintained its majority. We would have had things much easier. These
were some of the things, though, as part of the executive at the time, we kept saying. Because people talk to us. You see, and politics is about what you hear and how you act on it. And my view is quite simple. We are going to win 2024 because of unity in the party, not because of any particular candidate. That's what people must bear in mind. If they think that this person is best placed, somebody also thinks this is best placed. So we are going to select a candidate for the party who is going to be the very embodiment of the traditions and the values of the party, who contest John Mahama and beat Mahama hands down. And we are capable of doing that, so long as we play by the rules.
You seem to be very confident that if it is John Mahama and your party is able to hold its Congress without the unnecessary rancor and the infighting, you beat John Mahama. They'd also say that John Mahama is going to win 2024. Well, there is the EIU report, the number of African barometer surveys that says that electors are not so happy with the NPP.
You are saying service, you are saying reports. I'm a politician, so I deal with numbers. And I can assure you, look at the 2000 election. Look at the margin President Kofo won by. Look at the 2008 election. Look at the margin the NDC won by. Look at the 2012 election. Look at the margin that the NDC won by.
I think that is established.
Bear with me. Let me develop a trend. Look at the 2016 election. Look at the margin that Akufo-Addo won by. It goes to show that if this party is united, NDC cannot match us in any election day. If this party is united. In 2000, we were united behind Akufo. You saw the results. In 2016, we were solely united behind Akufo-Addo. You saw the results. So if you are all united behind a particular candidate selected by the party at the next Congress, we are going to win hands down. Mama is no man. That's what they talk. They can all talk. But I've been a member of the executive, and I know, I'm a member of parliament too, I know what this government has done. It's just that for unfortunate reason, we are not communicating effectively some of our achievements. But we know what you've done. Constituency by constituency, every MP should be able to stand up, every MMDC should be able to stand up and say, look, Nana Akufo-Addo came in 2017, I've got this structure, that structure, these schools have been built, these dormitories have been built. We can go by that. And, you know, the hospitals that have been built, we have a lot, the roads and stuff. So, in terms of infrastructure, it's fine, but Ghanaians don't vote on infrastructure. That's what I keep saying. Opposition parties do not win elections. Governments rather lose them. So, our conduct towards how the flag bearer or the next flag bearer of NPP is selected must be a guiding principle. If you're not careful, we get a person, but power might elude us.
Right. I think there's some utility in the argument you've just made. Indeed, if you look at 2020, NPP won in 2016 by close to 1 million votes. The numbers dropped in 2020 because of what happened during the parliamentary primaries and all that. So there's some form of utility in that argument. But where do you stand on this argument? You know, there are those in your party that say that hold on with the election of the flag bearer until a time when it is so close to the election, so that you don't have a lame duck president in President Akufo-Addo. You have two masters at the same time. Where do you stand on that? But should you go ahead and do the election as fast as possible? Give that flag bearer enough time to familiarize with the base of the party, or hold on, get closer to the election and do that?
No, but when people say a lame duck president, what do they mean by a lame duck president?
What I'm saying is, if you have another flag bearer, the party, the power shifts to that person.
No, but that flag bearer is going to campaign on Akufo-Addo's achievements. Akufo-Addo is going to be our #1 campaign manager. Understand that? So why is he going to be a lame duck? Number two, like I said, experience is the best teacher. In 2008, Nana Akufo-Addo was elected. I think the third week, it was a week or so before Christmas, in 2007. Christmas, New Year. The whole of, between January and April, I didn't see much activity. So Nana Akufo-Addo had only about 6 months to campaign. At that time, Mills and Mahama had split up the country into two and go in various ways. It did affect us. So, going by experience, my view is that let's hold the superdelegates as early as maybe next spring, March, thereabout. Give them 4 or 5 months to campaign the country. By August, when Parliament is on recess like this, we vote for the both parliamentary and presidential. Get it out of the way. You give the flag bearer 6 months before the end of the year. So any housekeeping duties will be dealt with at a time. And then just before Christmas or just in the new year, after New Year, they hit the ground running. They have 1 year, one full year to campaign. And you will see the results. I'm saying that because of what happened to Akufo-Addo in 2008. There, you see, I tell you, examples are abound. It's only because when people are not looking, when people are so myopic, when people tend to forget that all the trend analysis are there. So what do we do? How do you apply this? How do you do this? Then they keep saying, why can Akufo-Addo be a lame duck president? Even if he to hold the primaries next year, March, he will still not be a lame duck president. He still has the mandate of the people to run as president, or to carry on as a president. The most important thing is that we must look the party. Akufo-Addo will not be a candidate in 2024. Right. So whoever the candidate will be at the time is the one we should be aiming at selecting, partnering the president in terms of, you know, all these regional tours that the president is doing. When he's going around, He will be taking this presidential candidate with him to the regions, to introduce them to the chiefs, to introduce them to the stakeholders and what have you. This is the kind of thing we need. So what people say about lame duck, I'm not too sure how an executive president can be a lame duck in any given situation, I'm afraid.
There are those who think strongly that the president, when you have a president, he's the leader of the party. Now you have a flag bearer, you have a national chairman. The party, in terms of where the power should be, that is what they are concerned about, and they don't want to cause any friction among who is leading or who is getting all the attention.
Well, the president is the leader of the party, but once a flag bearer is elected, the flag bearer becomes the leader of the party.
And that is the concern. No. The president, you have a president.
No, bear with me. The fact that somebody becomes the leader of the party doesn't mean that he should step in the powers of the president. But the tradition of the party is such that because the person's face is going to be on the ballot, right, automatically, and it is his campaign, because if you take the sitting president away, the elected candidate then becomes the number 2 campaign manager. Right. Because this is his campaign. It's his vision. And what have you understand? So it is important that these elections are done early, right? There will be rifts, there will be malcontents here and there will be acrimony here and there. But the person will have enough time to stamp his authority on the party, right? Get everybody on board, with the president also as the number 1 campaign manager and the person following suit. That is what is going to rekindle the base of the party, re-energize the base of the party towards election 2024.
Right. With this out of the way, you alluded to early on in your submissions about the lack of proper communication strategy, both at the party and government level. Because you look at the country, there are people shouting holes, the country is hard, the country is difficult, President Kufuor has mismanaged the economy. There's IMF boss who spoke just a few weeks ago and said that, listen, it is not due to bad policies in Ghana, it is because of the global shocks, among other things. You lump all these together and you're going into 2024. Already the party is saying they are going to break the 8. That is a big slogan. It has never happened ever in our history as a country.
We got very close in 2008.
In 2008. If not for time coming at the last.
We got very close.
Right.
So it's achievable.
Right. But it's never happened that a party has won 2 terms and won another. In fact, there are those.
It's going to happen this time.
There are those who say that Ghanaians actually give every party 2 terms.
It's not true.
So you look at what is happening now. The communication around claims that things have become unbearable and that this government has mismanaged the economy, and the idea of breaking the 8, just a mere slogan, or you think the party is on a stronger footing and everything all together, like you said, in terms of unity, the party will be cruising to victory post 7 December 2024?
I think I gave you all the figures. I said anytime the UP tradition, that's the NPP, gets united solidly behind a candidate, look at the election results. I gave you 2000. I gave you 2016. Understand? So the figures are there. So that is why it's very important that along the way, the process that would lead to the selection of the flag bearer and the selection of the parliamentary candidates, that's also very important, right? Is done in such a way that nobody feels aggrieved, nobody feels sabotaged, and then after all said and done, we can all rally behind whoever is selected as the party's flag bearer for the 2024 election. Once that is done, and it's going to be done by the National President of the Party, National Executives, National Council, we must support them fully to do the work in such a way that every losing candidate, that's the last 5, will have the courage and the necessary, I would say, party attitude to support whoever emerges for us to win 2024.
Right. You've served as Kufuor's polling agent before, 2007. And there are arguments and talks about establishment candidates, people who are well established within the party, and whether or not these are the kind of persons that should lead the party, or it wouldn't matter at all if you're able to bring, for people who say quote unquote an outsider. Where do you stand on that?
Well, when you say an establishment candidate, I've told you that the Electoral College 94% are the polling station executives. They do not know any establishment figure, establishment candidate. We all saw in 2007. I say I don't want to mention names, but like you rightly said, I was candidate Kufuor's polling agent at Legon.
The establishment backs.
I'm not going to go there.
Right.
But NPP is not an establishment party. NPP is a tradition, and that tradition rewards. That tradition knows who to reward. So when anybody says that somebody is a candidate, a preferred candidate of somebody, fine. But it could be your preference. But is the preference of the 94% of the delegates? And that is what you must all be guided by. I'm only praying that history has taught us a few lessons. That if we are hell bent on winning 2024, the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, must make sure that he's neutral, very neutral. I mean neutral. Because his actions or inactions will also have a bearing on the elections.
Indeed, it is his legacy on the table.
Yes, and we saw it.
He's seen it first time.
Yes, you see, I keep saying that Nana Akufo-Addo is the best person in the whole of NPP to ever break the 8, because he's seen it all, right? Whatever happened to him in 2007, how he was able to win, sometimes I weep how we gradually walked into opposition. Right. Understand? Stayed there for 2 terms, then came back. So Akufo-Addo is the very embodiment of the party's history. Nobody can teach him that. And he knows what an established candidate can do to the fortunes of the party. But when people resist it, then it becomes a problem.
It did happen in some of the parliamentary primaries.
Well, the lessons, you see, Akufo-Addo is the best teacher. He knows it all, so he must teach us.
Right. Honorable Eugene Entry, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
So, we've been hearing from Honorable Eugene Entry. He is Member of Parliament for the Subin constituency.